Okay, getting started with Zeebe using the Java client. Best place to start from is zeebe.io, the website. We'll go to docs. So we go to the docs, let's have a look at install. So the easiest, most recommended way to use Zeebe is with Docker. So you're going to need to have Docker installed on your machine. Let's do that now. So you go to docker.com. If you don't already have Docker installed, click on Get Started. Come on down to Download Desktop and take a tutorial. So you can, follow the Docker documentation for that, and watch a tutorial video about it if you need to. So using Docker, now we're going to open the Zeebe Docker Compose repository. Let's go to the main page of it, clone or download, copy the link. Let's go over here. We're in a Scratch directory. Let's get rid of everything that's already in here. So we'll start from nothing. Goodbye. Okay, clear. ls, nothing. Here we go. So we're going to git clone the Zeebe Docker Compose repository onto my local machine. So obviously you're going to need git installed on your machine. It's coming on down. And what this Zeebe Docker Compose directory repository contains is a bunch of different profiles for running Zeebe brokers and different kind of configurations using Docker. So they're repeatable, consistent, reproducible environments. That's what Docker gives you. So while that's coming down, we are going to scroll on down here to section 8 of the Getting Started guide, the Zeebe Java client. Let's go to Get Started. So here's what we're going to do, and here are some of the prerequisites. We do need Java 8. Yep, we need Apache Maven to be installed on the machine, so you can get that from here. Apache Maven is like a build manager, package manager for Java. We're going to use Docker Compose. The modeler we need to get, so let's go over here. The Zeebe modeler 061. If you're on a Mac, Linux, or Windows, you grab the package you need. So that's a graphical editor for BPMN files. I've already got it on my machine, so I'm not going to grab that now. And we don't need to grab the monitor because we're going to be using Docker Compose. So let's have a look at what we got. ls, cd into Zeebe Docker Compose. Got a bunch of different kind of profiles that we can use. Okay, so let's just leave this one sitting here. We'll open a new terminal for this next part. Okay, I should set it up to open always from the current directory. That'd be easy. Let's have a look. Scratch. Good, good. Let's copy this Maven command. We're going to paste it in here. This is something that I struggled with a little bit. You got to put these backslashes on the end of these lines, and I did try adding this to the documentation, but then when I cut and pasted it out of the docs, it didn't work. Must add some invisible character or something. So add the backslashes or put it all on one line. Execute. Order 66. Here it goes. So it's going to scaffold up a basic kind of project for us and install a couple of dependencies. Done. Let's have a look. Okay, we got a Zeebe Get Started Java client directory. Let's cd into that. Get started. Okay, and then I'm going to open my IDE. I use IntelliJ. Enable Google format. Why not? Google Java format. Okay, we're in. Let's have a look. So here we have our pom.xml file. It's kind of like the manifest, if you like, of the project. Let's go to the browser. What do we do next? Add the Zeebe client library as a dependency to the project's pom.xml file. So we'll grab this, go back to IntelliJ, and we'll add it into the dependencies section as a codependency. Save that and enable it auto import. So you can see down here it's resolving dependencies, going to pull it in, but the Zeebe version here we need to update. Current version at the time I make this video is 0.18.0 snapshot. Let's grab that. Save. Resolving, it's pulling stuff down. While it does that, we'll go back here. It's kind of like a cooking show. Create a main class and add the following lines to bootstrap the Zeebe client. I'm just going to copy the whole thing, paste it. Let's have a look. Go back, source, main, Java, IOZB, app. Okay. Yep, replace everything. Okay, static interface method calls are not supported at language level 5, so let's change it to language level 8, so we can get lambdas and type annotations and static interface methods. Okay, that looks good. Got another error here. What's this say? Class application is public, should be declared in a file named application.java. Our file is called app.java. Let's do this. App. Okay, that got that red line to go away. Run the program. If you use an IDE, you can execute the main class. Otherwise, you must build an executable jar file with Maven and execute it. See the GitHub repository on how to do this. Okay, yeah, I did find this before. You got to get the Maven Shade plugin. Create a fat jar file. Let's go this one. Maven Shade. Okay, here we go. Here it is. Maven Shade plugin. I'm going to grab this little piece here. Copy that. Go back to my POM file. Now, plugins, here we go. I'm going to add it as a plugin, and I need to change one thing in here, which is the main class. So we change the main class to be io.zeebe.app. Save that. Okay, so I should add Zeebe to my spelling directory. Save. Okay, so I'll open a terminal. And now that I've added that, I should be able to do Maven package. Maven package. So this is going to package it up, download the kind of dependencies for it, package it, it's built. So that'll be in the target directory. And here it is here. Zeebe get started client 1.0 snapshot jar. So to run it, I'm just going to go java -jar target and that thing. Okay, connected and closed. Interesting. Wonder why it said connected when there's actually no broker running. Let's get the broker running in the background. Okay, that's real easy to do. We go back to the Docker Compose that we checked out before. Now, for this demonstration, we're going to use the version of the broker with Simple Monitor. So if you have a look here, there's one here called Simple Monitor. We're going to use that. So I cd into Simple Monitor, and then I just simply, let me show you what's in here. So ls, there's a Docker Compose file. We'll lolcat that out. Docker Compose, it's got a bunch of things. It's got an H2 database container, it's got a Zeebe broker container, and it has the Zeebe monitor container. It's going to start 3 containers. So in here, we run the command docker compose up. Now on your machine it'll take a little bit longer the first time you run it because it'll need to pull the images from Docker Hub, but I already have them on my machine, so it's just going to start straight up. So it's starting those 3 containers all together. Here they go through their boot sequence, bootstrapping all the things. A bunch of errors come out of the Zeebe monitor the first time that it starts, but then the Docker daemon restarts the container again, and what that is that the broker is creating some tables in the H2 container, and the first time the monitor starts, those tables are not there, so it freaks out and then it restarts itself, and then by the time it starts the second time, the tables are there and it looks good. Okay, let's test that it's working. Hey, so if we go here, we can get rid of a bunch of these things, and we'll create a new one from nothing, keep it nice and clean. So if we go to localhost and go to port 8082, we got a Zeebe simple monitor. This gives us a way to kind of inspect the internal state of the broker. It's not the actual internal state of the broker. The Zeebe broker is kind of like a Bentley engine. It's like a black box. They seal it, they stick it in the car, and it just works. The way the simple monitor works is the records in the Zeebe broker are exported and they go into the H2 database, and then the Zeebe simple monitor web app reads the H2 database to tell you basically what happened rather than what is happening. Subtle distinction, but it gets important when you're running at really high throughputs. Okay, we've got simple monitor running, we've got a broker running, and let's go on to the next part. Let's see what comes after that. Now we want to go back to this Microsoft Edge browser that I got running here. Okay, so what we've done here, we'll go back to the IDE actually and take a look at the code. Goodbye POM. Here we go. So we created a Zeebe client. We use the client builder. So the Java API uses like a builder pattern. It's very flexible, it's very powerful, it lets you do a lot of different things, which is really cool. And all we do here is we just print connected and then we close the client connection. Okay, let's go back and see what's next. connected, model a workflow. Okay, so let's model a workflow. So we're going to use the Zeebe modeler, which I downloaded earlier, and here it is. This is where you create your business process modeling notation diagrams. Click to start. Here's a start event. Now we're going to copy the one from the actual official demo. Order placed to order delivered. Okay, so we'll double click on this and we'll say order placed. Can I make this bigger? Embiggen. Way to go. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, good. Order placed to order delivered. That's it. Okay. So add an end event, and then we put here order delivered. Okay, this is like the to-do list app of BPMN, e-commerce kind of orders. Or maybe not even e-commerce, they could be physical ones. So deploy a workflow. Now we want to deploy the modeled workflow to the broker. Okay, so we should save it. Save the diagram in the project's source folder. Okay, so save. Oh, hang on, let me see. What should it be called? Here we go. Order process BPMN. So we'll copy this name. I'm just going to follow it as closely as possible. Scratch. Here we go, and we're in the Java. Zeebe get started, and I'm not really sure actually where I'm supposed to save it, but I'm just going to save it somewhere. Order process. Is that what it's called? Order process, yep. Save. Okay, I saved it. Now let's see what happens next. Now we're going to deploy it. Okay, after the client is connected, let's just copy and paste the code because that's what all the champions do. Built an entire career on it. Okay, connected, paste the code in. Boom. Press the magic button to import the class. It's there. So we create a new deploy command. We are, let me add that to my spelling dictionary. Creating this deploy command, adding a resource from the class path, sending it, and so this returns like an asynchronous. It's an asynchronous event, and it returns a future, and then you can force it to be synchronous by calling this join method on it. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to add a configuration, drag that into view, and then add one. It's an application. Oh, what happened? Here it is. Main class iozeebe.class zeebe.app. That's the name of the class. Yep. Okay. Can I change the name? Yep. Let's just say run. Okay. Run. Okay. Let's try running it like that. Run. Something's happening down here. Building, parsing, build. Here we go. Okay. It blew up. Let's have a look. Exception in the main thread. Cannot deploy resource from class path order process.bpmn. From the class path. Is that the class path? I don't know. Let's try moving it there and see what happens. Okay, let's try running it again. Run. No, didn't like it. Do I need to shade the order process BPMN into the jar? I don't know. Maybe you need to add it to the POM. Okay, too hard. Let me just drag it back here. Here's one thing that I know that I can do. And this kind of gives you a sense of how powerful and flexible this Java API is. So you see here that we're doing a new deploy command and we're adding a resource from the class path. What we can do instead is we can add a resource file. And then I just go like this. Okay, let's try running that and see what happens. Connected, workflow deployed, version 1, victory. Awesome. Okay, if you're a Java programmer, you're probably going, you numpty, this is how you do the class path. I got no idea, but you can do it this way too. So you can also do resource streams. You can do, I'll show you. Here we go. Dot add resource from class path, a file, byte, stream, string, string UTF-8. There's a bunch of different ways that you can do it. Possibilities are endless. Okay, that worked. Let's have a look at our simple monitor. If we have a look at workflows in here, you can see now we have this workflow. Oh, what a dumb name. I'm going to change that. I don't like it. Here's the workflow key, and there it is. It's been deployed. We'll go back here. Let's go back to the Zeebe modeler, and we're going to change the name of the process. Let's make it something way cooler than that. We'll call it order process, and we'll give it a human readable name here called order process. Yeah. Save that. Okay, let's try running our little program again. Run. It's going to redeploy, and its workflow version 1 because we gave it a new name, so it is technically a different workflow. So if I now refresh my simple monitor, you can see here in begin order process, there it is. That's pretty cool. It's exactly the same. Good. Okay, back to here. Yep, create a workflow instance. So we're going to create an instance of the deployed workflow. So here's the code. After the workflow is deployed, we copy the code and then deployed, yep, and then like a professional developer, we paste it. Save. Okay, and then magic key to get the class to come in. Yep, all good. So we create a workflow instance event. So we take our client that we created earlier, connecting to the broker, create a new create instance command. Then we use the builder pattern, the builder interface, a BPM process ID, auto process, get the latest version, send it, and then join it to make it synchronous. And then from that workflow instance that's returned, we then get the workflow instance key, and then we print it out. Hey, I created a new instance. Let's run it and see what happens. Run. Connected. Workflow deployed. It's another version. Workflow instance created, and there's the key. Let's have a look at Simple Monitor and see what we can see. Simple Monitor. Instances. Here we go. There's our workflow instance. Click on it. There it is. You can see that. There is 0 there, 0 there. 1 is completed, 1 is completed. It's done. It's finished. Why does it say cancel instance? I'm not sure. It should be finished. Let's try that. No, what happens if I click cancel instance? Nothing. Okay, disabled maybe. Okay, next step in the tutorial. Okay, back to here. Run the program, verify that the workflow instance created. You should see the output, workflow instance created, key 6. It wasn't key 6. If you have a look at that key that it actually created on it, it's pretty long. Okay, back here. You did it. You want to see the workflow instance? Yeah, we did that thing. Work on a job. Okay, now we want to do some work within the workflow. So we got to add a few service jobs to the BPMN diagram, set the required attributes. Okay, so let's do that. We'll go back to the Zeebe modeler, and we're going to add some workflow instances. So I'm going to break this connection here. I'm going to move my order delivered over here, and I'm going to add some service tasks. There we go. How many are there in the demo? Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3. Collect the money, fetch the items, ship the parcel. 3 of them. Okay, pretty straightforward. And then connect that one to there. Okay, so here we collect the money, and this is the best practice for naming these service tasks. It's like a verb object. Collect the money, fetch the items, and then ship the product. Ship it. Ship the product. Okay, cool. Set the type of each task. Set the type of the first task to payment service. Okay, collect money. This is going to be task type payment service. So this is the the microservice that's going to service this task. Give it 3 retries. Why not? And this is the instance name. So I don't know, payment service task 1. Task 1. Save that. Okay. Save it, switch back to the main class, and then add the following lines to create a job worker for the first jobs type. Okay, so after the workflow instance is created, copy and paste. Waiting for the jobs, close the worker. Let's do it. Go back to the IDE. Workflow instance created, paste that in, import the class. Done. Okay, so we create a new job worker. We take our client that we created earlier and then say new worker, job type, payment service, and here's the handler. The handler is a lambda. It's like a callback function. It takes a job client and a job, and then the business logic of your microservice goes inside here. So there's not a whole lot of business logic in this one. It's just going to print, hey, I'm collecting the money. I'm going to make that a little bit kind of funky. I'm collecting the money. I'm collecting the money. And then we'll put dollars. Job client new complete command. So once the worker is finished with whatever side effects that it needs to do, or whatever transformations, it creates a new complete command. it gets the job key and then sends it back to the broker and says, I'm done with this one, here it is, sends it back. Okay, and then once we've constructed that worker, then we call open on it, and that's going to start the worker. So let's run that. Run. Connected, and then boom, stack trace. Let's see, what did we do here? Must have exactly one Zeebe task definition extension element. Okay, so I think that what's happened here is we've tried to deploy the BPMN diagram, and it's freaking out because these need to have types as well. Fetch items, payment service. Oh, okay, so what would this be? Fetch a service? Yeah, fetch a service, why not? Fetch your service. We'll give them 3 retries as well. 3, and then shipping service. Shipping service, and then we'll give that one 3 retries. Okay, good, and we'll save that, and then let's try running it again and see what it does this time. It likes it. Workflow deployed, workflow instance created, there's a key, and then it closed. So let's do this. Let's not close it, save that, and then run it again and see what happens. So our job worker will stay alive and working. Oh, look at that. So the first instance we created the first time round was sitting there in the broker, and this worker has collected the money for it, and then it's collected the money for the second instance that just got created. Cool. Pretty straightforward. Next, run the program, verify the job's process, see this output, yep, and then have a look at the Zeebe monitor. So let's do that. We'll go back to the browser, and then the simple monitor instances. Okay, we've got a few of them. One's completed and 2 of them are active. Let's have a look at them. Yeah, look at that. We collected the money. We're now waiting to fetch the items. So let's go back to our instructions. Okay, what's next? Work with data. Okay, usually a workflow is more than just tasks. There's also a data flow. It'd be pretty boring if there was no way to pass any kind of state around. So the way state works in Zeebe is that there's like a payload or a state. They're key value pairs in the form of what we call variables, and they can be set when the workflow instance is created. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a workflow instance with an order ID and some order items. So to do that, looks like we're going to mutate this workflow instance event where we create the workflow. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. And we're actually changing the job worker as well, but let's do this creation of the workflow instance first. So here we just created a workflow instance straight up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit before that where we construct this payload to send. Not that one. Let's go Alt Enter. Yep. Bring it in. Do it. Yeah, that one. Good. And a hash map. So it's a hash map of type string object, and then we just put the variables into it and set the values here. We put the key value pairs into the hash map, and then we pass the hash map in as the variables for the workflow instance. Okay, and our job worker, similarly, we're going to change that. So we're going to pull the variables as a map out of the job in the handler. So I'll grab this handler here. Oh, we also have to tell it to fetch those variables. Let's see. There's actually 2 things going on here, which is kind of cool. Let's make sure I'm grabbing the right part. Yep. So we go down to our worker handler and paste that. Okay. Extra line there that we don't need. Save. I'm a master at cutting and pasting. Years of Stack Overflow. Okay. So what we're doing here is in our handler, we get the job and we get the variables as a map out of the job, and then from the variables map we're going to get the order ID. Now, lost that cool thing there. That's okay. So the other thing that we're doing here is that what we're doing with the worker is we're saying that this microservice here, this little micro worker, it should fetch only the order ID variables. By default, it'll fetch all of the variables or the whole state of the workflow all at once, but you can here constrain which ones it's going to get. And so we're only interested in the order ID here. So that's what we're going to ask for. Let's see what happens when we run it. I got to stop the other one from running because I got rid of the job worker close and the client close, so the process will just keep running forever in a loop, checking for more work. connected. Okay, here we go. Deployed, created an instance, processed this order, and collected the monies. Good. Now what? Go back to your simple monitor and take a look. Okay, let's have a look. Go back to the instances maybe. We got like 1, 2, 3. There are 3 customers. We've taken their money. We haven't shipped anything to them. What are we going to do about this? See that the variable total price is set. Oh yeah, let's have a look at that. Okay, so back to the instances. Let's have a look at is this the latest one? This is the latest one here. And then have a look at fetch items, collect money, workflow instance. Oh, look at this. Okay, oh look, here are the variables. The total price, the order ID, and the order items. So if we go back to here, nope, that's just the global state of the workflow right now. Can't get it at points in time. Oh, here we go, show history. What does that do? Interesting. Okay, so if we have a look at the worker, what it's done is it's got the variables as a map. It got an order ID, and we printed out, hey, this is the order ID, process order. That's here. And then what we've done is we've put a new variable into into those variables, and then we've passed that into the complete command. So we actually updated the state. So when we collected the money, I guess this microservice is also calculating the total price. So really you would probably have that here, calculate price, because it got set in here. It didn't get passed in here, which would probably mean you'd need to know which items were being bought, but whatever, for the purposes of illustration. Don't use this in production to run your e-commerce store. What's next? You finished this tutorial, you learned the basic usage of the Java client. Okay, that was it. Whole thing. Let's do the rest of it. Why not? Okay, so we're going to fetch the items. Okay. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, we're going to grab this, cut and paste. There we go. Paste it in. We need to change the name. Let's call this one, what is this guy called? This is the payment. No, this is the fetcher service. We called it fetcher service, right? Okay, and why don't you like this? It's never used. It's a true story. True story. And this one? Duplicate code. Yeah, okay, they are exactly the same thing. So we'll change this here. This is now the fetcher service. Good. Fetcher service. This first job worker will change his name. This one is the payment service, right? Payment microservice. Okay. What are you complaining about? Duplicate code. What is this? Is this like plagiarism kind of detection or something? What is it trying to tell me? I should dry out my code? Okay, so for the fetcher service, we really need to know what items that they're going to buy, that they want. Which items are we fetching? So if we go back to where we created this workflow instance, we said order items, right? So let's go down here, and we're going to grab the order items out of the state. Yep. Okay. We also have the total price, but we probably don't want to do anything with that. So let's see, process that order. Yep, get the order ID, and then here we should say fetch the items. Fetch items. That was enough to break the duplicate detection. Okay, a new hash map. We're going to put those things in there, but we're going to process the order, and then let's, oh man, this is going to really test my skills, because we now need to get this arrays as a list. So where did we create it? Up here, arrays as list. So we got a list of IDs here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go full ghetto and just do this. Variables.get, and it's order items. I wonder what this will do. I hope it's got a good string method on it. Okay, we don't need to calculate the price anymore. We collected the money, we fetched the items. We don't actually need to update anything in the state, so we'll take that out. Oh, we just take out that whole variables line then, hey? Don't need it. Okay, of course you'd do some kind of side effects out of these things, like you'd have to, like, I don't know, access a database or a REST interface or a robot to go and get them out of the factory. Let's see if that runs. Stop the currently running one because our workers are just sitting there waiting for work, and then run this new version. Run. Press the play button. Connected, process order null. Ooh, okay, so yeah, we forgot to fetch the variables. Now, you know what? If we just take out that whole fetch variables line there and then stop it, it's going to by default fetch all of the variables from the engine. So we'll do another run. We should see it, a single order go through. Yeah, look at that. Process order 31243. We collected the money, processed the order. Yeah, and then we're fetching these items. Cool. You know, we're processing this order. We should say how much money we're collecting. We should say how much money we're collecting. Total price. So, okay, we'll do it like, what is that? A float? A double? I don't know. It's a number. Is it a float? Maybe it's a float. Let's see. Float price. 46.50. It's a double. Okay. Cast it to a float. No. Migrate it to a double. Okay, so here we're going to say we're going to put the price in there and then collect money, and then we'll say that's how much money we're collecting. And then we got the fetcher service, and then let's create another service at the end, which is the shipping service. Okay. So shipping service. Shipping service. We'll call it the shipping service. Shipping service. Client worker. Job type. Handler. Get the variables. Got the order ID. We've got the order items, and then ship it to production. And then we do that. Okay, so we should say ship items. Stop the currently running one, and then run. Okay, connected. Oh man, we shipped all the items at once. We're shipping to production. Look at that. Everything got shipped. Let's have a look at the simple monitor to see what's happening in there. Simple monitor. Now, oh, look at that. Workflow instances changed. Refresh. Shipped. It's gone. If we go to instances, I say that they'll all be shipped. Yep, they're all completed. Everybody's got their orders. Happy customers. Happy customer is a repeat customer, hopefully. Okay, let's stop running this and let's just take another look at the code. So what we've got here is an entire e-commerce system that can be massively scaled. You can take on Amazon with this. In just a single class. Amazing. Of course you wouldn't build your actual production code like this, but this is just a demo to give you a sense of how this works. So we created 3 little microservices in here, these little workers that work independently of each other, and they can be scaled independently. And what they do is they fetch the jobs of this particular task type, and perform the business logic function in here, and then post back the results to the broker. So we have 3 services. We got a payment service, we got a fetcher service, and we got a shipping service. And so there you have it. That is how easy it is to get started with Zeebe using the Java client. We had a look at how we build a business process using the Zeebe modeler. We started the whole thing using the Docker Compose. So we got like a simple monitor and a broker up and running. We had the ability to inspect running workflows, interact with them, even you can even modify them from here, cancel them. You can even if you go to workflows and we'll go to the latest version of the order process workflow, you can even create a new instance right here in the simple monitor, which is super handy for debugging. Don't run this in production with simple monitor because it's very slow, but it's just a great tool for doing development with. So there you have it, getting started with Zeebe and the Java client. It's that easy.